Today on Pro Church Daily, we're talking about how to use mobile apps to grow your church.
Well, hey there, and welcome to Pro Church Daily, the show where in 10 minutes or less, you'll get your daily dose of tips and tactics to help your church share the message of Jesus while we navigate the biggest communication shift we've seen in the last 500 years. I'm your host, Alex Mills. I'm joined, as always, by the boss man. It's Brady Shearer, and today we're talking about how to use mobile apps to grow your church.
We've done a couple of episodes of Pro Church Daily on church apps.
Yep.
We did episode 41 talking about 5 reasons why church apps are vastly overrated. And then 42, we talked about how you don't need a church app to send push notifications. You can actually do that for free without paying for a church mobile app. What I wanted to do in this episode of Pro Church Daily was dedicate an episode to a different angle, a different perspective on mobile applications for churches. And the reason I wanted to do this was because I think that pastors, senior leadership in churches are on the right path wanting to use mobile apps within their church. You know, we talk about how attention is the most valuable commodity that your church can possess. Yeah. And when we look at the data surrounding mobile apps, there's a great argument that can be made for why we need to be using them because the attention is so great there. Right. Let's talk about a little bit of that data. 50% of all time spent on digital media is spent on smartphone apps. So half of all time on media in digital is on an app. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. When you dig a little deeper, the important distinction to make there is that 9 out of every 10 minutes spent on smartphone apps is spent on a user's top 5 apps, and 50% of all app time is spent on a user's single most popular app. And for most people, that app is Facebook. And this is where I want to make the distinction. I want churches to begin leveraging mobile apps like never before. But I don't think it's wise to build an app from scratch when we can already use existing infrastructure for free where attention is already being paid at scale. Yeah. Right? So major apps like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, they're all free. They all have massive amounts of attention, and they're all welcoming your church to use them for free to reach all of those people. Yeah. So rather than build an app where no one's paying attention, that will cost you money every single month, and trying to say, hey, leave the big platforms and come to us, why don't we just go where everybody already is? Gaining attention in 2018 and beyond is incredibly difficult. And one way to make it more difficult on yourself is to try and convince people to come to a platform that attention does not exist already. Right. So the other thing to consider is this. If you're going to build an app, you got to ask yourself, what's the purpose behind it? There is nothing that I'm aware of that a church app can do using one of the template-based offerings. I'm not talking about a $100,000 app that you build from scratch, custom with a team of developers. There's nothing a church app can do, template-based, that your website and social media cannot do. So to look at this logically, you have to come to a place where you are okay saying, the only reason that I am going to build a church mobile app is because I want my church's name on it. Yeah. Because functionally, there is nothing that a church app can do that your website and social media cannot already do. So I think this is where we need to be good stewards of what we have, swallow our own pride, and really say, look, there's no reason for us to build an app and pay $100 each month, because if we use platforms that are already vastly more popular, vastly more used attention-wise, and truthfully have way more functionality than an app could ever have, just a really easy decision when it comes down to that point. And if anyone should build an app, it should be Pro Church Tools.
That's true.
So the majority of churches are 250 people or less. Right. And these are the churches that I'm speaking to. You know, if you are a church that has mastered social and has mastered email and has a killer website and you still want to build an app, hey, go for it. Right. You've already hit the necessary bases. You've hit your prerequisites. But with that being said, we have an email list of 50,000 churches. Our podcast gets close to 100,000 downloads each month. Yeah. And we are doing daily content. Your church does weekly content. We do daily content. Yeah. If there was any platform, organization within the church world that maybe would benefit from an app,
should probably be us.
You could say it's us. Yeah. Our content could be delivered automatically. We could send push notifications every time an episode goes live. Wait, we do that with Instagram and YouTube already. Well, I didn't say it.
You actually literally just said it.
I did just say it. If there's anyone that would want to build an app, it's us. Yeah. And yet I continue to double down and reinvest on email, website, and social. Yeah. Not an app. Why? Because everybody's on Instagram, so I'll double down there, spend more time, spend more money. Everybody's on Facebook, so I'll spend more time, spend more money. That being said, if you are crushing email, crushing social, and crushing your website already, and you want to build an app from there, fine. But the average church, the vast majority, 80+%, are under 250 in size. There's just no reason, 99% of the time, to spend money on an app. Because every dollar that is spent on an app in a church of 250 or less, practically, is a dollar stolen from your website and your social platforms.
Absolutely.
Which is a tremendous misuse of resources and funds. When we look at the data, when we look at it practically, there's really just no way around it.
Yeah.
I want to offer an analogy to really drive this point home, finally. And that is that I want you to think about your church app, social media, and your website like this. Imagine that you are trying to get from your home to your work destination, and it's too far for you to walk. And you have three options. You own a car. You could drive, get in your own car that you already own, and drive from home to work. That is your website. Mm-hmm. You could also take public transportation. It's not owned by you, but you can use it very cost effectively, extremely cheaply. That's social media. Option number 3. You could buy a new car.
Keep the one you already own.
Yeah.
Just go out and buy a second one.
You could just buy a new car. And it would be a new car, and so it would be a little bit nicer and sexier to have some new features.
You know what it would have on it? A personalized license plate that said your name on it.
It would. And maybe it has some like new fun features like heated seats.
Wireless charging.
Woo!
Yeah.
Of course, it's a tremendous cost, and you already have two viable options of getting from A to B.
Yeah, you can get to work.
That would be an obscene decision that nobody would make.
Right.
But this is the same thing that's happening with apps.
Yeah.
We are neglecting our website, the car we already own. We are neglecting public transportation, the platforms that exist that are welcoming us, that have a ton of attention. Everyone's there, and they're basically free.
Yeah.
And we're saying, now we need another car, and we're going to buy that. It's a misuse of funds. It's a misunderstanding of digital, and it pains me to see it. Final thing, this is not about Nucleus versus apps.
It's not.
I could not care less whether or not you use Nucleus for your church. I think Nucleus speaks for itself. If you want to use it, great. And if it's not for you, also great. There's a reason that we do this free content every single day, because I recognize that the majority of Pro Church Nation will never be able to buy our products.
Yeah.
That's cool. I still want to provide tremendous value to your church. So you can go back to 2016 and the videos that I made talking about the data that shows church apps are just not worth the expense before Nucleus ever existed.
Right.
I could not care less. This is not about Nucleus versus apps. This is about mobile apps taking precedent, stealing money from platforms like social and websites that need that.
And the conversation that's been generated about this subject specifically online, especially over the weekend, the last couple of days, going back and forth online, has been really interesting to me, because to me that it seems like abundantly clear, and I don't get paid to come in here and agree with you. I don't have any personal investment in apps. I don't care if your church has an app or not. But when you look at the data that says 9 out of every 10 minutes, 90% of users' time is spent in their top 5 apps. So you're already only competing for 10% of time. Those top 5 apps are likely going to be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the apps that we can leverage, get in, that you're probably already on, your church is already on, get in and leverage for free. You're already in those top 5 apps. So use that to your advantage, leverage it for free.
Free.
Yeah, and communicate to your church that way, because the door's already open for you.
We don't want a mobile app to take away from your website or for social. One way to improve your website is better copy, better understanding of how the pages on your website should work. And so we've got a free download that we want to offer you, prochurchtools.com/nucleus. On there you can find 7 pre-made page templates for your church's website: kids ministry, plan a visit, I'm new. And basically they have pre-written copy, pre-structured frameworks, exactly how we would build these pages on our own church websites.
Yeah.
Giving them away for free. Again, because we want your church website to be as great as it can be.
Right.
prochurchtools.com/nucleus is where you can get access to those. Thanks for watching today's episode of Pro Church Daily. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, thanks for watching today's episode of Pro Church Daily. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and enable notifications so you never miss another video.
And if you like this video, it'd mean the world to us. Maybe give it a thumbs up.
A big ol' thumbs up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.